Hello everyone, welcome to What If Deku Was Useless Brother of Issei and Became Red Dragon Emperor movie. Bio. Name, Izuka Hayato. Age, 17. Likes, Kaneko, swords, drag, harem, familiar and being helpful. Dislikes, cruel people, bad people. Personality, soft, kind, cheery, loving, easily embarrassed, strong-willed, resilient. Looks, abilities, main swords, Brynhild, S, Restia, Forgotten Durandal, Burning Black 100, True Excalibur, Intetsu, Familiars, S, Restia, Tiamat, Locke, Igneel, Cham, Kana, Drag POV. It has been quite a while since that pervert thought with Kokobeel, and the devils have been worshipping him more often now, but there is something that I can't stand. He is such a perv. He has completely shamed me. Even Albion is embarrassed to have me as a rival. I'm surprised he hasn't already asked me to end our petty fights. Even the lower dragons have laughed at me. How embarrassing. But out of all the bad things that have been happening to me, there is one good thing. It's that I met him, Izuku Hayato. He is by far my greatest pride and joy. Having him as my student ever since Issei awakened me, I've been training the boy to be stronger, and I can happily say he's reached a level where his power rivals my balance breaker armor. I can still remember the day I say him. Flashback. Issei had just gotten home after battling Riser and kissing Rias when he saw Izuku at the door, worried. Izuku, Issei, are you okay? He shouted, running to hug Issei, who ran towards him. Izuku smiled happily, about to hug his brother when he passed him and hugged Asia instead. Izuku looked hurt, but he smiled sadly and walked inside, looking down. Flashback end. He ignored his younger brother who was worried about him and hugged a girl. How selfish could my host be? But as we progressed, I continued to notice how Izuku was helping them, but they never knew. And then one day I met him. Flashback 2. Issei was sleeping with Asia, Akino and Rias when a glowing red sphere. It began to take human form. Once it did, the man walked out the room to the balcony when he heard wood hitting another piece of wood, so he jumped down the balcony and ran into the forest to see Izuku training. His figure was impressive in itself, and his black shirt outlined perfectly. Sweat splashed down his face as he used a wooden kendo stick to hit the tree. He had a perfect stance. His eyes were sharp and on point. Drag watched impressed as the boy began to hit the tree, switching stance from stance. The tree itself was a colossal one, radiating some magic energy, but it already had marks in it showing that the boy had done this for weeks over and over again. Izuku fell to his knees, huffing and puffing. After 3 hours it was already 3 a.m. and Drag had finally decided to come out of hiding. Drag, you have some impressive power, kid. I'm impressed. Izuku turned to see Drag smiling at him. Izuku, oh, it's just you. Drag, how did you get out Issei's gear? Drag expression morphed into one of shock. Drag, what, how? Izuku, the ORC doesn't hide their secrets well. Drag, haha, well then kid, you just impressed me more. Congrats. So anyway, listen, I was wondering how would you like me to train you? Izuku, wait, really? Drag, yeah? Izuku, but why? I'm just me. I'm not like Issei and the others. Drag, because you're special, so how about it? Izuku, then please teach me, sensei, he said, bowing as a sign of respect. Drag in turn smiled. Drag, great, but first let me show you how to use the magic inside yourself. Izuku, magic? He questioned, titling his head to the side, confused. End of flashback. Teaching him magic was hard, especially when he activated it. Flashback 3. Drag, concentrate. Izuku, I'm trying. Drag, I got an idea. Izuku, Drag, I can't do I. Drag, dragon shot. The attack approached Izuku at super speed, destroying everything in front of it. That's when he released his magic and destroyed the mountain. End of flashback. After that I began to train him harder than ever, and his aptitude for magic grew within every passing second, so one day I decided to reward him with wings of his own. Every moment I spent with Izuku was valuable because thanks to him I began to feel love. No yaoya pervs. I began seeing him as my own little brother, that adorable kid. Flashback 4. It was Izuku's birthday and Issei wasn't there. The only one who celebrated it was his parents, but Izuku was still sad then. In the next morning Izuku woke up to Drag's present to him. Izuku was so happy that he didn't stop smiling for 3 days, and that makes me happy. End of flashback. Drag, I wonder how that kid is. Maybe I'll go check on him. Drag got out of Issei and went into his human form. He walked out of Issei's room, but not before snarling at Issei. He walked through the hallway before hearing a sword fight and grunting. He walked towards the training room and turned invisible only to see Izuku and Zenobia having a sword fight, while Kaneko watched a little drowsy and tired. Zenobia is Volo and Izuku is Kirito. The two were about to send their final attack when Zenovia's boobs bounced out the hole on her shirt. Izuku's eyes widened and stopped his attack when Zenovia hit him on the head with her wooden sword. Izuku fell to his ass holding his head in pain. "Are you okay?" Zenovia questioned as Izuku looked up to see her assets still exposed, so he got up and bowed. "Izuku, I am sorry." Zenovia looked confused. "Why?" she asked. "Izuku, be because I looked at your why you know." Zenovia, "Are they not appealing to you?" Izuku, "What? No, that's not it." Zenovia, "Then why look away? I thought boys love girls to expose their boobs to them." Izuku, "Not all boys." Zenovia, "Do you perhaps have a thing for me?" Drake thoughts, "Yeah, right." Izuku, "No, it's just your size." Zenovia, "You're a very beautiful girl, and yes, a lot of guys would kill to see a girl's boobs, but not me. I mean, you should only show your boobs to people you love like Issei, cause you love him, right? After all, he's incredible. And I'm just me," he said, sounding a little upset and looking down. Drake thoughts, "If only you could see what I see." Izuku, "I just think you should give only the person you love with all your heart the chance to see you without clothes, that's all." Drake thoughts, "The amazing man I know you are." Izuku, "Okay," he said, smiling with his eyes closed. Zenovia blushed a little before putting her arm over her breasts. Zenovia, "Thank you, Izuku, and good night," she said, walking past him and outside, but Drake could hear say one more thing. Zenovia, "Do I love Issei? I'm just gonna sleep in my room tonight." Drake thoughts, "Haha, so Izuku, you helped her see the truth, did you? Good boy." Izuku sighed in relief before feeling someone tug his sleeve. He looked down to see Kaneko very sleepy. "Kaneko, I wanna go to sleep." Izuku, "I suppose it's late, but why are you telling me, Kaneko?" Kaneko pouted and pulled him outside the room. Drake followed and saw she led Izuku into his own room. Drake went in to see Locke and Champa asleep in their beds. Drake thoughts, "Haha, you two seem cozy." Kaneko threw Izuku on his bed and climbed in with him, then lied on his chest. Izuku k Kaneko. "Kaneko, good night, Izuku senpai, I love you," she said before falling asleep on his chest. Izuku looked shocked but smiled warmly and hugged her close. "Izuku, I love you too, kitten," he said before closing his eyes to sleep as well. Drake smiled warmly and walked to Izuku's side, petting his head. "Good night, Izuku." "Izuku, good night, sensei." Drake chuckled softly before leaving the room and returning to Issei's sacred gear. Izuku was meditating in the forest. Beside him stood Drake, who was training him. "Drake, focus and listen, increase your senses." The nature around Izuku echoed through his mind. "Drake, let the natural energy flow in you." "Drake, now bring out your armor." Brynhildr hovered in front of Izuku and turned so its point faced him, when their energy clashed and Izuku merged with the blade, transforming and entering their armored form. Izuku breathed in and out. His breath turned into steam. Pain flooded his entire. After a few seconds he fell to his knees and detransformed. "Izuku, error!" he screamed in pain, holding his head while shaking. "Drake, I see, so you can access the form, but your body has its limits. We have to train to overcome those limits." Izuku, alright. With the ORC, everyone was in the room discussing their plans. Issei, "So tell me, Kiba, have we got anything special planned?" Kiba smiled and shut his book. "We do. I forgot you're still new here, Issei." "Asia, what about you?" "Kaneko, what are you going to do?" "Kaneko, I'm gonna spend it with Izuku." "Zenovia, is that so? May I join you then? I would like to have some fun." Kaneko looked down to think before nodding at Zenovia, who smiled thankfully when the door opened, revealing Rias and Akino. "Rias, it looks like everyone is here." Time skip. Rias was seated on the couch and drinking some tea when Issei screamed, "Issei, going back to the underworld." Rias, "Well, naturally, summer's finally here and it is a family tradition. Is everything alright, dear?" she asked Issei, who was whimpering. Issei, "I'm fine. I just thought you were gonna leave me and go home and never come back again." Rias smiled and put her cup down. "Rias, koi neediness is so hot now. Stop worrying. I plan to keep you around for a few dozen millennia," she said, holding his face and put her face closer to his. "Rias, I would never leave you behind, understand?" Issei, "Yeah, I got you," he responded as she leaned back to her previous position. Rias, "Very well, then we'll all head to the underworld tomorrow. And it's a long trip, so be ready. Bring a book or something." Asia, "Wait, did you say all of us?" Rias, "Yeah, masters and servants all always go everywhere together." Asia, "Going to the underworld makes me feel nervous, but I wouldn't feel anything if I was already dead." Zenovia smirked. "So then starting tomorrow morning we're gonna spend our holiday in the same hell I tossed infidels in hell for a non-believer such as myself. That's irony," she said, smiling with her arms crossed. Azazel, I'll be going along as well. Everyone gasped in shock seeing Azazel there, and Rias stood up. Rias, when did you get in here? Everyone, Azazel. Azazel. Listen, Gremory, if you didn't notice my presence right now, then you still have a lot of training to do. Rias got a little angry at his comment. Issei, I'll tell Matsuda and Motohama that the Occult Research Club is heading out of town for a remote training camp, he said thoughtfully when Kaneko spoke up. Kaneko, Rias. Rias, yes. Kaneko. Izuku, can he come too? I was planning to spend my holiday with him, but since we are going we won't get the chance to. Issei, what him? No way, he isn't strong enough. Azazel, I wouldn't be so sure. Issei, how about we all go see what he is doing right now? Akino, Era, what if he's in the bath? Rias, fine, let's go. Azazel teleported them to Izuku's location. With Izuku, everyone teleported to the forest near a waterfall. Rias, why are we here? Azazel, cause he is here, he said pointing behind everyone, so they turned to see Izuku. Azazel, he's about to start today's training. He smirked as they all looked at Izuku eating a massive amount of food. Everyone stood shocked at the top of the mountain top, seeing Izuku on his knees scream to the top in triumph. Rias, oh okay, he can see. Come. Issei, what the hell? Why would he train like this? Azazel, because he wants to be strong enough to protect everyone. With a smile, as you know, Izuku loves heroes, but what you don't know is what he's been through, having been forgotten by you. Issei, he has to watch as you grow stronger, so he decided to become the strongest in the world. Izuku had climbed out the mountain and picked up a black shirt and put it on, then a towel that showed his arc of a body. Izuku, sigh, well, that's enough training for today, he said to himself before walking off. They followed him to find a motorcycle waiting for him, shocking everyone. Azazel smirked. Do any of you know what sacred gear that is? He questioned them as Rias answered. The fastest gear, the blue sun beast. Izuku, let's head off, pal, he said as the motorcycle beeped. He smiled softly and got on, then rode away at killer speeds. Issei, what the hell, how did we not see that? Asia, yeah, we lived together. Azazel, don't ask anyway, I'll see you all in the underworld. Drake smiled in the gear. Attaboy, good job today, Izuku. Time skip. Izuku lied in bed with Kaneko on his chest, speaking to each other as it stormed outside. Izuku, so I'm going with you guys to the underworld. Kaneko, yep. Izuku, really? Kaneko, yep. Izuku, why? Kaneko giggled and sat up on his chest, looking at his face with a soft smile. Because I want to spend my entire holiday with you, she said happily. Izuku smiled back and kissed her cheek. I'm sure we'll have a blast. She nodded when the door opened, revealing Zenobia in a white pajama with pink love hearts holding her arm and looking down with a blush. Izuku, Zenobia, what's up? Zenobia, I wanted to sleep beside you tonight. Izuku, Zenobia, it was cold in bed. Kaneko, I thought you liked the perv, why don't you sleep with him? Zenobia, because I want one night when I'm not having my boobs touched by him. Izuku and Kaneko looked at each other with plain expressions before crapping up. Izuku, sure if you want, he said as she smiled happily and ran into his bed, putting herself under the covers and hugging his arm. Zenobia, Izuku, yes. Kaneko, we can't sleep. Izuku chuckled, then how about a song? Zenobia, you can sing, she asked, shocked. Izuku and Kaneko nodded. Zenobia, then if you would please. Izuku. Zenobia and Kaneko had fallen asleep. Izuku's song was more effective than he thought, so after a short chuckle he kissed both girls' foreheads and both let out a small smile, snuggling deeper into him. Izuku, good night, girls. Izuku closed his eyes and fell asleep as well. In Izuku's mindscape, Izuku stood in front of Drake. Drake, I saw your training today, Izuku. Izuku, really? Drake, yes, and I'm so proud of you. You've finally unlocked the sixth sense, and now you are ready for a new sword. Izuku, no way, thank you, master, he said, bowing. Drake, no problem, Izuku, you earned the SWO. Izuku, no, not for that, but for everything you've done for me. You were there for me when no one else was, so thank you. Thank you for all you've done and for being a father to me, he said as Drake smiled wholeheartedly. Drake, it's no problem, son, now take your reward, he said as the fire around them turned blood red and the moon revealed itself, but it too was red, and in the center of the room was a sword radiating a blood-red aura. Izuku gulped and walked towards it. Reaching out, he placed his hand on the handle as a monstrous aura blasted out, pushing everything away, and began to corrupt Izuku's arm as red veins climbed up his hand. Izuku, AARGH. Izuku could feel it tearing him apart, but he couldn't lose to it, so he gritted his teeth and began to absorb its power. Izuku, I won't lose to you. Suddenly the energy around Izuku dispersed, and in 3 seconds appeared in a flash, but this time as a crimson liquid filled made of the black dimension, which then flowed into him. Once it dispersed, Izuku released a devastating aura. Drake, you've done it, Izuku. Izuku. Sensei, what did I just do? Drake. That blade is known as Intetsu. It's the sword of the first demon. His name was Ikki, and he was a kind and gentle soul. The sword itself was called useless once, but as he grew so did the blade. Izuku suddenly flashed bright red and appeared in his armor, and the sword itself changed forms. And under the helmet Izuku's eyes changed. Drake. Amazing, you've unlocked the armor, haha, that's my boy. Izuku, haha. Izuku deactivated the armor and began to fade away. Drake. It seems you're waking up. Izuku. Yeah, alright, I'll speak to you later, Pops. Drake. Yep, see ya, kiddo. With Zenobia. The sun rose to the top of the sky and Zenobia began to wake up. Her eyes took a few seconds to adjust to the light, and when it did she recalled what happened yesterday. She knew she had to get up but didn't want to. Instead she laid down and snuggled deeper into Izuku's neck, feeling his arm wrapped around her waist, holding her close. Zenobia. It feels so comfortable, no wonder Kaneko loves it here. Izuku didn't once touch her breasts, or did she fight with the girls? She didn't understand it, but being near Izuku brought up new emotions in her, and they weren't bad, they were actually really good. Zenobia, I'm really happy I met you, Izuku, she said, closing her eyes and smiling with him. On the magic train to hell, everyone in the ORC and Izuku are sitting in their own rows. Asia, I never expected to go to hell on a train. Issei. Last time we went via Graphia's magic and then we returned using a griffin. It was sweet. Aquino. Well, this is appropriate trip and all new devils should cross between words using the correct channels. Gasper, who was playing on his Playboy, looked up at Kaneko, who was looking outside without a word. Gasper. Hey Kaneko, your lunch is gonna get cold, you know. What is it? Kaneko. Nothing. Nothing to worry about, she said, looking at him with a smile. Izuku. Maybe you don't like the food, good thing I brought my own. Aquino, you cook. Izuku, it's coming for me, he said, going into the black bag beside him and pulling out a container, and when he took off its lid it revealed Countdown maple curry noodles, his own creation. Aquino, my, it looks so good. Issei, I wouldn't eat it if he made it. Izuku chuckled nervously and scratched the back of his head before using chopsticks to pick up some noodles from the steaming hot bowl. Izuku, it's fine if you don't want to, yay. Aquino took Izuku's hand and moved it to her face, where she used his hand to feed herself, and she practically jumped out her seat, happily eating it. Izuku, so you like it? Aquino, it's so good. Izuku, I'm glad, he said with a smile as he kept feeding her. Kaneko didn't even bother to look at the two since she was so distracted, and looking outside they then looked to the door to see Sona, Saji and Tsubaki walking out when he called out, Izuku, oh hey guys. The three froze and turned to Izuku in shock. Sona, Izuku, Saji, Bro, Tsubaki, Izuku, all three. What are you doing here? Sona glared at him. So you became a devil under Rias? How could you? She screamed jealously. Izuku, no I didn't, I was just invited. All three, Tsubaki. But that's against the rules. Saji, don't sweat it guys, think of it this way, when we finally arrive at our destination you can spend time with him. Sona, I suppose you're right, oh well, we'll speak to you later. Aizawa, we gotta tell the others you are here. Izuku, sure, I'll see you guys later, he said, letting out his $1 million smile. Sona and Tsubaki sighed lovingly, while Saji sighed depressed. Saji, what is with that smile? Sona, let's go. Tsubaki. Tsubaki, are alright, she said as they left. Rias. Sona stuttered, well now I've seen everything. Aquino caressed Izuku's cheek. Aquino, so Izuku, you've been doing some naughty things with other girls, have you? Izuku, no, he responded as she kept asking him other and other till he got annoyed and placed her head on his lap and began to brush her hair with his hand, leaving the girl shocked. Aquino, I've never had a lap pillow given to me before by a man, that is. Izuku, hee, if you like it then I'll happily give you one when you ask, he said as she smiled and closed her eyes. Aquino thoughts, his hands so warm. Suddenly the train stopped. Aquino thoughts, seriously. Zenobia, why did we stop? Train, the emergency brake has been activated. Gasper, ow my neck, did we get in an accident? Azazel and Rias then entered the room. Azazel, a few Vipsas will be gathering here soon, maybe the stop was a security option. Issei, what VIP? Azazel, it looks like we might be stuck here for a while, I'm gonna take a peek. Chow. Rias, Sai, the representative of Asgard, will be joining the treaty. Issei, what's an Asgard? Izuku, Asgard. They are the forces of Norse mythology, the Viking gods. There are many other fates. Issei, and they all exist, both gods and demons. Issei. Oh, is that so? I already knew that much, he said, thinking he was gonna kick Valis' ass. Issei. So the meeting's about the Chaos Brigade. Rias. That's right, and Asgard is joining our alliance. Kaneko. Something's wrong. Suddenly the barrier beneath the train disappeared and everyone fell down. With Izuku, everyone woke up in a canyon. Issei was the first to get up. Issei, where are we? Kiba, forced teleportation. Asia, where's Rias? Kaneko, I don't see her. Gasper, Azazel's missing too. Zenobia, be quiet, she said as massive explosions could be heard echoing through the canyon, and from it came a massive purple dragon. It let out a frightening growl, scaring everyone. Issei, a dragon. Tannin roared at the group, as Kiba and Zenobia brought out their swords. Kiba, so I take it this thing isn't friendly. Zenobia, do you think so? Kaneko charged the dragon using the rocks to jump to its height. Izuku, Kaneko, watch out. Kaneko sent a punch to the dragon, but it sung its tail at her and smashed her into the mountain wall, leaving blood stains behind her head and a trail of blood come down her head. Kaneko, arg! She screamed in pain, falling down as Izuku caught her. Izuku's POV. I caught Kaneko and placed her down in front of me. As I looked at the blood coming down her head, something inside me snapped. No one's POV. Everyone thought with the dragon but stood no chance. It took a few seconds, but the dragon stopped fighting and looked down at Izuku, who walked towards it with his eyes shadowed by his hair. Zenobia, Izuku, get out of there, she screamed as the dragon raised its head and brought fire into its mouth. Gasper, watch out. The dragon let out its fire towards Izuku, burning him to a crisp. Akino and Oo. Issei, Izuku, dragon. R. They looked towards the dragon, who had blood spraying out its knees, and Izuku, who was behind it, not bothering to look back. Kiba, no way. Izuku's aura burned bright, no one could see it but the dragon. Dragon thoughts. He's hiding so much power. Izuku, you hurt Kaneko. Izuku, I'll make you pay. Izuku walked forward, pissed off and ready for a fight. As the two were prepared for an epic battle, Azazel interrupted. Azazel, stop, that'll be enough. Issei, you guys are here, dud, what the hell? Time skip. Issei, wait, this guy's a devil sweet. Dragon, thought I recognized you. Drake, yes, good to see you. Tannin, now if you wouldn't mind, please apologize to the boy whose girl you hurt. Tannin, of course. Yo, you child with the green hair who wounded me, I apologize for harming your female friend. Izuku looked at Tannin. It's fine, he said, holding Kaneko in his arms, slowly healing her with his magic aura. Azazel, Tannin here will be training you all. Izuku, is that so? Sai, I can understand him fighting us to see which level of power everyone is at, but you went too far this time. Rias, I'm deeply sorry I was against. Izuku, I don't care, he shouted with his hair covering his eyes and gritting his teeth, clearly pissed. Izuku, I don't blame Tannin for Kaneko getting hurt. No, this is your fault. You make your peerage live for you. The least you could do is fight so they are safe, but you didn't, and Kaneko got hurt. You have no right to smile, absolutely none. Rias, how dare yo _ Tannin, silence. Everyone got scared cause the dragon raised his aura. Tannin, the boy is right, you have many flaws, Gremory, and this is what happened. Because of those flaws I can only be thankful he doesn't blame me, but you apologized for tricking everyone, however you didn't apologize for putting the girl in a life-threatening situation. Rias, sigh. Issei, shut up, don't you dare. Drake, shut your mouth. I don't you dare disrespect Tannin. I deeply apologize, old friend. Tannin, it's fine, and you Izuku, please allow me to take you to your true stop as an apology and help heal the girl. Izuku smiled. Thank you, Mr. Tannin, he said, walking to the dragon, who put his hand on the ground so Izuku could step on it and be taken away with Tannin. Rias gritted her teeth, clearly enraged, while Azazel smirked. Azazel, okay everyone, let's head off, he said as they all fled the area. In the large baths, Izuku sat in front of a tree looking at his hands and speaking with Drake. Drake, are you better? Izuku, yeah, I'm fine. Drake, Izuku, tell me what's wrong. Izuku closed his eyes tightly and gritted his teeth. Izuku, when I saw the blood on Kaneko come down her head, I couldn't do anything. I got so angry and offended. Rias, but I. Drake, you're ashamed, worried and slightly angry, I know. Izuku, listen, Rias understands why you were angry at her, and so does everyone else. Out of everyone, you are the closest to Kaneko, even compared to Kiba, so you had every right to act the way you did. Izuku, but still. Drake, don't worry about it. Izuku, thanks pops. Drake, no problem, kiddo. The two then heard Issei and Azazel speaking about tits and got really annoyed. Izuku, Let's leave. Drag, yep. Izuku got out the water and left, leaving the boys to wonder where he went. On the girls' area, Kaneko looked down blushing. Kaneko thoughts. Izuku really acted like that when I got hurt. Ah man, he must be so angry at me for attacking without thinking first. Zenobia passed her swimming as if training already began for her. Asia, it seems this was the special training Zenobia needed, she said, watching Zenobia swim. Zenobia thoughts. Why do I feel so upset that he acted that way? Could it be I just want him to act like that with me? Would he sigh? Rias looked up at the sky with sadness, remembering Izuku and Tannin's words. Rias thoughts. It's my fault Kaneko got hurt. No, not just her, Izuku too, but the look in his eyes, she said, recalling how he looked at her when he was walking to Tannin. Rias thoughts. They were filled with anger and hate. Akino, care to share what's on your mind? She asked, looking at Rias with a smile when they heard movement in the water and saw Kaneko leave. Rias thoughts. Sigh, I'm sorry Kaneko. With Kaneko. Kaneko got out the bath and walked outside to get a cool breath of air, but then saw Izuku a few feet away looking at the star-filled sky sitting on the hill. Kaneko, Izuku. Izuku, oh Kaneko, what's wrong? Kaneko, nothing, I just want to apologize, a lot's been on my mind and… Izuku, I understand, I was just worried. Kaneko smiled. You really are kind, Izuku. Izuku smiled and petted the spot beside him where she sat. Izuku, wanna hear a song? Kaneko, yes please. Izuku took out his guitar from the bag beside him and began to sing. Kaneko, I love you Izuku. Izuku, I love you too Kaneko, he said as they leaned in slowly. Time skip. Issei. Holy balls, he shouted, standing outside the Gremory mansion. Zenobia, wow, this place is enormous. Asia, this is where your family lives. Rias, saha, she agreed as the door opened to reveal Grafia. Grafia. Welcome home, my lady, we have been awaiting your return, you may follow me inside, she said before seeing Izuku, and smiling she greeted him. Grafia, it's nice to see you again Izuku. Izuku, you too Grafia. Time skip brought to you by Badass Opening. The orc and Izuku walked past rows of maids and butters. Asia, Issei, I'm really nervous. Issei, I feel ya, I wasn't expecting this to be such a big deal. The group walked to the end of the hallway where a door on the left stood. Grafia opened it and bowed. Grafia, excuse me, but our guests have arrived, she said as they all walked into the room to see Venelana Gremory. Venelana, it's nice to meet you all, and how are you Rias, she said with a kind smile. Issei thoughts. This chick is banging hot, I want one of those for my harem, he said with a loopy smile and a blush. Rias, Issei. Issei, yes ma am. Rias, finding a carpet to match the drapes was difficult, please don't drool on it while staring at my mother. Issei, your mum. Akino, it's a pleasure to see you again, Lady Venelana, she said, bowing, followed by the entire peerage, but Rias and Izuku, who wasn't focusing. Venelana, intrigued, raised an eyebrow. Rias, Izuku bowed down. Venelana, that's quite alright Rias, so this human has come to the underworld and survived. How curious, how is he doing it? She said, walking to him slowly as everyone's eyes followed her. She stood in front of Izuku and used her fingers to delicately trace his abs and refined muscles till her fingers reached his lips. She caressed his face and touched his cheek. Her eyes glowed bright purple to enter his mind when he opened his eyes to reveal beastly gold. Countering it, she took a step back in shock when Izuku's serious aura disappeared and was replaced with a nervous one. Izuku, oh, I'm so sorry ma. I'm Izuku Hayato, it's a pleasure to meet you, he said, bowing in respect. Venelana, oh, it's perfectly fine, she said, coming out of her shock. Venelana then moved on to Issei and Rias, embarrassing the two. Venelana, I believe it's time for dinner, she said, walking away so no one could see the massive blush on her face and her slightly shaky body. Venelana thoughts. Izuku Emidaria, why can't I get you out of my head, and what is this feeling? Venelana, Rias dear, would you show everyone the way? Time skip. In the large dining room, everyone sat around the table along with Zeoticus. Zeoticus, welcome everyone, please think of this as your home away from home. Everyone was dining in except for Issei, who didn't know how to eat in a sophisticated way. He looked around the table, then stopped at Gasper. Issei, what's wrong with you? Gasper, eating here with all these people around is really freaking me out. I can't even taste what I'm eating. Issei and Zenobia chuckled. Gasper then felt someone patting him. He turned to see Izuku with a soft smile. It'll be alright Gasper, don't worry and enjoy your food, he said in a soft and gentle tone. Gasper put a small smile on his face and calmed down before eating his food. Izuku and Issei. Issei, yeah? Izuku, copy me, he said, showing Issei the way to eat. The boy was very thankful. Venelana thoughts. He's so kind and gentle. Izuku turned to Kaneko, who hasn't even touched her food. She looked at him, and then away, so he sighed and wiped his mouth with the cloth on his lap, and then moved to Kaneko's plate and took some of her food on a spoon. And if there's one thing Kaneko hates, it's people taking her food. Kaneko, eyes you. Izuku shoved the fork in her mouth, so she began to eat as he fed her. Kaneko, jerk. Izuku smiled cheerfully. Venelana, now that's just mean. It's like he's deliberately teasing me. Zeoticus, I've been meaning to ask you. Issei. Issei, yes. Zeoticus, how are your parents doing? Tell me. Issei, they're doing great. They love the new house. I think they're still trying to break in the new rooms while I'm here. Oh right, this is my younger brother, sir. Zeoticus, younger brother, this young man. Zeoticus narrowed his eyes. A human in the underworld, how curious, but may I ask, how is it you are surviving while down here our air should blow your lungs apart? Izuku, well sir, I've trained daily, so the conditions of your atmosphere have no effect on me. Zetosius, and what kind of training is that? Kiba, if I may sir, we've seen it ourselves, and it's pure hell, no offense. Zeoticus, none taken. And tell me, do you like your new house? Izuku, it's a little too big sir. Zeoticus, now I have to ask, you are slightly taller and have a more muscular build than Issei, plus you aren't wearing a uniform. Why is that? Izuku, well, I live a different lifestyle than Issei, and my parents took me out of school for homeschooling since I didn't have a good time in high school. Zeoticus, and why is that? Izuku, I'd rather not talk about it. Zeoticus, why? Izuku, because I don't want to. Zeoticus, what do you mean? It's a simple question. Izuku, I'd rather not answer that question, sir. Venelana, dear, I think that's enough. Zeoticus, why, it's a simple question. Izuku, please stop. Zeoticus, what is it you're hiding? Izuku, enough. Zeoticus, were you bullied, hurt, alone? Izuku, be quiet. Zeoticus, or were you rejected by a girl or something stupid like the... Izuku's eyes widened as he had a flashback. Drake, you red-headed son of a bitch. Flashback. Izuku was walking through the corridors of his school to go to the bathroom, but when he got there he saw a line of boys. Confused, he walked to the bathroom and saw a teacher bucking a girl, but not just any girl, the one he loved. She had tears streaming down her face and her arms were being held by boys as she was bucked by his teacher. The bully who hated Izuku came with a smile and pushed the boy to the wall and beat him up with some other guys and forced him to watch as every boy bucked her. After they all left, she was on the ground crying. Her eyes were empty, but he crawled to her bloodied and in pain. When he reached her, he hugged her and let her cry in his chest. Flashback 2. Izuku came to school to see flowers on her desk. A woman he knew was the girl's mother saw him and hugged him, telling him what happened. The girl he loved committed suicide. Izuku couldn't even cry, so much pain filled his heart that he stood motionless. Flashback 3. The hospital came and took every male teacher and student to the hospital while the cops arrested Izuku, the boy who beat them all down without mercy. He nearly killed the bully. If he hadn't been tackled by the police, he was one hit away from killing him. End of flashback. Izuku stood up before the man could finish and shouted, "Shut the buck up!" He then ran away, leaving everyone shocked. With Izuku. Izuku ran and ran till he couldn't run anymore and fell to his knees, breathing heavily and holding his chest. He lifted his veins bulging to see symbols starting from his heart. Izuku, Drake, what's happening to me? Drake, the dark armor is absorbing your feelings and growing stronger. Its powers are running wild in your body, killing you from the inside. The only way to exert it is for you to have intercourse with a woman who has powerful magic. Izuku, but I don't know such women. Rias isn't enough, and she doesn't even love me. Grafia, Izuku, are you okay? Izuku, thoughts, shit. Izuku, yeah, I'm fine. Gray AARGH. He screamed in pain as his veins began to burn. Drake, the armor, it wants Grafia. Izuku, no shit. Grafia, run please. Grafia kneeled down beside Izuku, worried. Grafia, please tell me what's wrong. Izuku sighed, so he told her everything and she was shocked. Grafia, Izuku. Izuku didn't move. Grafia, Izuku, look at me. Grafia grabbed his face and turned it to hers, so she kissed him. Izuku's eyes widened. Grafia, he said as she separated slowly with a line of saliva connecting them. Grafia, meet me at my room tonight, okay? Can you wait that long? The armor stopped hurting Izuku. Izuku, thoughts, dick. Izuku, yeah? He said with a nervous smile. Grafia nodded and helped him up. She then left to get ready. Izuku sighed when Kaneko and Grafia ran to him. Kaneko, Izuku, Zenobia, Izuku, they screamed worriedly. Izuku, girls. Kaneko, Baka, you worried me. Zenobia, me too. Izuku, I'm sorry girls, but listen, I have to tell you something. Izuku told the girls everything and they weren't happy but had to accept it. Kaneko, Okay, we understand, but after that you are not to sleep, kiss or make love with anyone else, okay? She said with no room for argument, not that he was gonna give one. Izuku, completely. Zenobia, good now as payment for letting you go. Kaneko, we agreed on something. Izuku, what? Zenobia, this. She brought Izuku's face in and kissed his lips, and Kaneko did the same. Izuku, wah wah wah. The girls giggled and left. Drag, women. Izuku, women. Time skip. Izuku stood in front of Graphia's door wearing nothing but black jeans. Izuku, I can't believe I'm gonna do this, he said before the veins began burning him again, so he knocked on the door. Graphia, come in. Her voice was soft and seductive, so he opened the door to see the room lit by a dim purple light. Once fully inside, he saw Graphia lying in a large luxurious bed in a beautifully made room, but what really turned him on was what she was wearing. She sat in that position. Graphia used her finger to tell Izuku to come to her, which he did. As soon as he was in front of her, she wrapped her arms lightly around his neck, bringing his face next to hers before whispering, Graphia, I'm all your handsome. Izuku's eyes widened before his instincts took over, and her eyes turned golden and beastly again. In the morning, everyone stood in the front yard of the Gremory estate. Azazel. Alright, looks like everyone's here. Let's cut to the chase. I've got a 20-human-year-old world regiment that's gonna rip you into shape. Issei. Are we seriously gonna have to train that long? Azazel. Indeed we do, and Issei, you're going first. Issei, huh? He questioned, upset as Tannin landed behind Azazel. Issei. What's the old dragon doing here? Azazel. I did. He's your personal trainer these next 3 years. Issei, huh? Drag. Help me, Izuku, please. 3 weeks with no one but the pervert will kill me. Drag begged to Izuku, who chuckled nervously for his master. Tannin. This will be the first time I train someone with Drag. Oh, and hello Izuku, how are you? Izuku, I'm well. Tannin. Good. Oh, and I got something for you. The dragon leaned down and somehow whispered to Izuku. Drag asked me to get it for you, he said, pressing his claw in Izuku's chest, where a bright green glow came out of him, but vanished too fast for anyone to see. Izuku, thanks Tannin. Tannin, no problem, the dragon said, high-fiving the boy. Tannin, now I'll be excusing myself, he said, picking up Issei and standing up tall while Issei complained. Rias, Issei. Issei, do I have to? Rias, get it together. Issei. Right, I forget our king becomes a full-blown dominatrix when it comes to training, he said as Tannin flew away. Issei, this succss, he whined while being flown away. Azazel, now Izuku, I need you to do something for me. Izuku tilted his head to the side. Time skip. Izuku stood beside Azazel over a magic circle above the clouds, watching Akino glare at the fallen angel general and her father Barraquil. Akino, why are you here? Barraquil, it's been quite a while. Akino. Akino, I'd rather you not say my name. Akino began to recall Azazel's tip about accepting her heritage. Akino, you never answered my question. Barraquil, I cannot deny an order given to me by the Governor General. He asked me to come train my daughter, so here I am. Akino, do you know I wear these clothes? She said, transforming into her battle clothes. Akino, it's my way to show the world I renounce everything you represent, cause you are no father of mine, she shouted to him. Izuku snarled, watching. Izuku, tch. Azazel, so you see where I need your help. Izuku, yeah, he said before jumping over to Akino and Barraquil. Izuku, thoughts. Drag, yeah? Izuku, I'm gonna test in Tetsu, okay? Drag. Okay, Graphia should have been able to adapt the power to your body, so it should be fine, good luck. Izuku, thanks, see ya in 3 weeks. Drag, crying, see ya. Izuku landed behind Akino and brought out his blade. All he was wearing was a black v-neck shirt with the sleeves rolled up, black jeans and shoes with a black belt and shiny silver buckle. Izuku, you're pathetic, Akino, he said as she turned to him with a shocked expression, the same as her father. Izuku, you think you have any right to renounce your heritage? Akino, who are you to talk? You know nothing of what he's done. Izuku, he hasn't done anything, you're just too blind to see it. Akino, what the hell do you mean? Izuku, Barraquil, will you let me rough her up a little? The fallen nodded and stepped back to the edge of the mountain, giving them room. Izuku, if I'm wrong, show me and beat me here and now. Akino, you're just human, you'll die fighting me. Izuku, we'll see about that. Akino rose to the sky with her demon wings. She raised her hand to the sky and a magic circle appeared over her fingers, and she fired yellow lightning at Izuku. Upon collision, an explosion of dust was created. Akino, I warned you. The dust immediately burst open and Izuku was under her in a second with his sword to her throat, holding a terrifying glare. She couldn't believe it. Akino, thoughts. How, when? When did he have so much power? Izuku threw the katana in the air, causing it to disappear. He walked forward and stood beside Baraquil, not showing either of them his face. Izuku, you've been selfish Akino, only thinking of yourself and about your sadness, but in truth it was all bullshit. He shouted, clenching his fist as some blood dropped out. Izuku, you never understood true pain, the pain of seeing the one you love gone without a trace, to never be able to stand beside that person, never being able to hear the one you love with all your life call your none. You could never understand that pain. Baraquil looked down, and so did Akino, both remembering the day they lost their wife and mother. Izuku, Baraquil, your father has been suffering all alone for so long, and you never once batted an eye for him. Could you even imagine the pain he must go through each and every day? He missed so much of your life. He misses his wife. Can you even imagine the regret, the grief, the agony and torture he has to go through, knowing you don't want to even look at him, his own daughter, his only thing left in this world, the one thing he should be able to rely on, turn her back on him? Akino began to see her faults. She looked at her father, and her eyes widened in the more to see tears falling from his eyes. Izuku, he loves you so much, and he can't even tell you that. Akino, how can you even recuse this man, the man who would give his life for you in a heartbeat? How can you not give him a hug and tell him I miss you? Akino had tears running down her face too. Izuku, remember these words Akino, a man is strong against the world's evil. A man will falter against the pain of darkness, and a man will break at the loss of family. I know these words are true, and so do you. So stop with your childish crap and tell your father that you're sorry, or you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Akino, Izuku, don't even I know you and what you're going to say, but don't you and others have been neglecting my presence for so long that I don't care anymore if you hate me, like me, or even need me, because you all love so very much, don't you? He looked back at her, and this was the first time she saw a pool of sadness and anguish in those once happy eyes. This was the true Izuku. Izuku put his hand on Baraquil's shoulder. I'm deeply sorry for your loss, sir, he said to the man, who nodded with a smile. Izuku nodded and jumped off the mountain. Akino ran into her father, who hugged her tightly, both crying. Akino, I'm sorry, Daddy, I'm sorry, please don't leave me, I love you so much, she said as Baraquil smiled at his daughter. Baraquil, I love you too, my little one, more than you could ever imagine. With Izuku. Izuku heard their words to each other, and so did Azazel, leaning on the wall of the cave Izuku had landed beside. Azazel, look at that, you fixed the family. Izuku, I did nothing but show them the way back. Azazel chuckled and petted Izuku's head. Azazel, you saved them. Izuku, you should be proud. Now let's get back, you have training to do. Izuku nodded with a smirk as they teleported away. Issei hugged Rias, crying. Issei, I miss you so much, you're all I could think about as I was getting beat around by that dragon, and I could only think of your sweet body as I lay my head on a log from log. Rias, I'm very proud of you, you've gotten so much stronger now. Azazel, yeah, it's all well and good, he's gotten his endurance up, but he didn't manifest his balance breaker the entire time. Issei, yeah, I suck. Azazel, don't worry kid, we'll find a good way to ease your performance anxiety. Issei, my performance? What now? Akino came into the room. Akino, oh, you're all here. Rias, yes, everyone but Kaneko. Akino, yes, she's taking some much-needed rest. Issei, yeah, she fainted from her training, it's unlike Kaneko. Gasper, I hope she's okay. Azazel, don't you guys worry about her, I'm sure she's having a very good rest, he said with a mischievous smirk. With Kaneko. Kaneko was lying in her bed sleeping when she began to fidget and open her eyes. After a little she sat up and looked around. Kaneko, how did I get here? Izuku, Azazel found you unconscious. Kaneko turned to see Izuku standing in front of a window shirtless. Although it was dark, she could clearly see the outline of his defined muscles on his back with scars. Kaneko gasped slightly. Izuku, you're back. Izuku, they are signs of my success. He remembered as Azazel tied his hands to his side and whipped him over and over again, but he need to bear the pain to grow stronger. Kaneko, so why are you here? Izuku, because I wanted to be there when you wake up. Kaneko, oh well, I'm Finn. Izuku, why did you do it? Kaneko looked at Izuku confused. What? Izuku turned to her, showing his new body. She blushed slightly but felt it wasn't the right time. Kaneko, Izuku. Izuku walked towards her and climbed on the bed, and over her she lied down as he was over her. Izuku, tell me, do you find joy making me worry? Kaneko looked at him shocked and felt water drop on her face. Izuku was crying, and it was her fault. Izuku, do you not care about me? Kaneko, Izuku, Tell me, why did you push too far? He couldn't even look her in the eye. He was so worried when Azazel told him how he found her. No matter how tired he was, he refused to sleep till she was awake. He wanted to protect her. Izuku, why Kaneko? He cried. She covered her mouth. The man she loved with all her heart was crying for her, so she lifted her hands and placed them on his cheek, then brought his head into her arms, slowly hugging him, and he wrapped his arms around her waist. Kaneko, I'm sorry, Izuku. Tell me, Kaneko, what are you hiding from me? Kaneko took a deep breath and began to tell Izuku about her past, and her sister. Izuku was shocked but understood now why she wanted to get stronger. Kaneko, that's why I pushed myself so far. I don't want my sister to take anything from me. Izuku lifted his head from her chest and put it on the pillow facing her. He began to caress her cheek and lean in. Izuku, Kaneko, nothing in this whole world. Their lips were about to touch. Izuku, will ever hurt you for as long as I live. They were 3 cm apart when they heard the door handle being moved. Issei, why is this door closed? Izuku and Kaneko stopped and looked at the door with deadpan expressions. Kaneko, I really hate that bucking pervert. Izuku kissed her forehead and smirked. So then, ready for a party? Kaneko smiled and nodded. In the party, Barakwheel, Akino, he said, appearing out of nowhere, and hugging his daughter tightly. She hugged back with a cheery smile. Akino, hey Dad, how are you enjoying the party? Barakwheel, haha, it's great, but I wanted to spend a lot of time with you. Akino nodded cheery and walked away with her father to meet his comrades. Rias and Issei, however, were left with their jaws on the floor. Izuku, hey guys, he said with a cheery smile. They all turned to see him, but this wasn't the skinny, muscly Izuku. No, this was a man. The group were left with their mouths open. Zenobia, Izuku, she screamed, running into his arms with a smile. Izuku, Zenobia, I miss you, he said with a smile, hugging her back. Zenobia, I miss you too. Izuku chuckled, geez, you're like a kid. Izuku laughed before looking around the room. His eyes stopped at Graphia, who blew a kiss at him. He smirked, and almost as if time had stopped, he was right by her side and whispered, hey gorgeous. She blushed profusely, staring at Izuku, who smiled cheekily. Akino, Izuku. Akino ran into Izuku's arms with a huge smile. Issei, what the hell is going on? Barakwheel, Izuku, it's nice to see you. Izuku, Barakwheel, sir, sorry for not greeting you sooner. Barakwheel, nonsense with your training, I'm surprised you aren't in bed. Izuku, hee, so I see you and Akino are much happier, he said with a cheeky smirk in chibi form. Barakwheel, indeed, and it's all thanks to you. Oh, did you receive my gift? Izuku, oh yeah, it's amazing, thank you so very much for it. Barakwheel, think nothing of it. Sona, no fair. Izuku, we didn't get to see you for 3 weeks. Izuku turned slowly to Sona, who looked at him with a killer's aura. Following her was Tsubaki, while Saji cowered behind. Izuku, gulp. Sona, so good to see you. Barakwheel, good luck, he said, taking Akino with him and walking away. Rias, it's nice to see you. Sona, welcome, how's your training going? Sona, very well actually. Saji, Izuku, I missed you man. Oh hey Issei. He spoke with a smile to Izuku and nothing to Issei. Issei, man, why is everyone going to him? Izuku, I miss you too pal, so how was you training? Saji, great, I took him to school. Izuku, nice, he responded, fist bumping him. Searfall, there you are. Sona, Sona, oh great, my sister's here, she shouted worriedly. Rias, giggle, it's been some time. Lady Searfall. Searfall, oh hi Rias, I see you brought the red dragon and everyone else. Izuku, speaking of children. Searfall turned slowly to see Izuku with shock, which morphed into great joy. She literally jumped into his arms. Searfall, ha 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 ha. Izuku, I missed you so much. Izuku, haha, geez, you're such a kid, he said, hugging her back. Sona, thanks for the help. Izuku. Izuku nodded and gave a thumbs up. Time skip. Izuku, along with Sona, Tsubaki, Saji, Rias, Issei, Zenobia and Asia, were walking down a hall towards the waiting room. Sona, we're almost to the waiting room now, let's hope we won't be in there long. Rias, a bunch of hormonal devils in one room together, we'll be lucky to get out alive. Sona, true that. Suddenly the doors in front of them burst open by a dust explosion, and from inside the room they heard the fight. Sigvera, if you got a death wish, I'm happy to fill it. Zefter, filling is my job, like I said before. If you want a virgin, purging him your guy. Zenobia, what's their deal? Saji, we're gonna rumble. Rias, right on cue. Saroarg, at least we've come to expect this type of thing after all these years. Rias, hello Saroarg. Saroarg, I'll give a warmer greeting later, he said, walking towards the two about to fight. Saroarg, don't dishonor the Agar's family by fighting this guy, princess. We both know he's the problem child of the Glagia Abelos family. Zefter, Go buck yourself, jackass. Shit talk like that gets you a muff box. Sarorg. I know it's strict, but that's your only warning. If you want to push it, I'm more happy to show you the door, he said, cracking his knuckles when they heard tapping and looked to see Izuku walking towards Sigvera. Once he reached her, he took out a white handkerchief from his breast pocket and used it to clean the dirt from her face. Izuku, you aren't hurt, are you, miss? Sigvera, and no, she stuttered with a blush at his warm smile. Zephyr, the hell is a human doing down here, huh? He shouted. Sarorg looked at Izuku with a solid glare, and Izuku showed the same look. However, the bloodlust both he and Zephyr felt shook them to the core. Izuku, settle down. You both come from respectable families, so act like it. Oh, and Sir Sarorg. Sarorg, why yes. Izuku, thanks for trying to stop their fight, he said with a smile, dissipating his aura, which was replaced by a warm, cozy air around Izuku. Sarorg, no problem. Hey, how about a drink? Izuku, sure, he replied. Sarorg walked over and put his arm over Izuku's neck, guiding them away from the group, who literally had their mouths touching the floor. Drag, Izuku. Izuku, yeah? Drag, nice, he said, giving a thumbs up at Izuku, who smirked. The two walked away from everyone and began to talk while drinking, while Issei conversed with its Sundra Phoenix child. But at the corner of our main boy's eye, he saw Kaneko run out the party. Sarorg noticed too. Sarorg, go get her, pal. Izuku, but Sarorg, don't worry, I can see she means a lot to you, so go. Izuku, thank you very much, he said, bowing and running after her. Rias looked his way, and so did Issei. The two were about to run after them, but Sarorg stopped the two. Sarorg, don't, this is something he must do. It's a man's job to protect the women he loves. Issei, what are you talking about? Kaneko doesn't love Izuku. Rias, yeah, come on, Issei. Issei, right? The two ran past him, leaving Sarorg to sigh. If she's too blind to see their love, then she's gonna be screwed in her next raiding game. The party in the Gremory house was interrupted by Loki. Loki, I am the Norse god Loki, greetings. Azazel, alright, now we got a party, he said with a smile. Surzex, Loki, you may be the Norse god of mischief, but that gives you no right to cause trouble here. Loki, seeing Odin our great forefather forces me to suffer great torment. Surzex, Odin, leave Loki. If you return to Valhalla immediately, I'll forgive this public affront. Loki, really? Well, you can shove your forgiveness. Roswius, great, another man with no manners. Loki, if he chooses to sig an alliance with the other mythologies, it will be incredibly difficult for me to cause Ragnarok. Azazel, the lyrics are different, but the song's the same. Listen here, kid, you're just a tool working for the Chaos Brigade. Loki, working for no working with, yes, but I admit this op was my idea. Now let me introduce you to my beloved son, he said, summoning Fenrir. Fenrir roared loudly, scaring some devils. Azazel, hell, alright then, let me summon my own kid. Come on out, Izuku, he shouted as a magic circle opened a few feet away, revealing Izuku and Kaneko. Akino/Zenobia, Izuku, Gasper/Asia, Kaneko. Fenrir growled at them. It then jumped to the roof, causing some of the debris to fall towards Asia and Gasper, but Akino used her lightning to save them. Unfortunately, Fenrir saw Akino attack, and so he charged towards her with an open mouth. Barraquil, Akinu! Akino took a step back in fear as it was a few inches away with its mouth open wide, about to eat her. Citri Peerage/Asia, Zenobia, Gasper, Kaneko, Akino. As soon as it bit down on her, it killed the girl. At least that's what would have happened if Izuku hadn't pushed her away but had his arm bitten off instead. Zenobia and Kaneko stared horrified while Akino looked, had her pupils shrunken with Izuku blood touching her cheek. Izuku, Gah! He screamed in pain, falling to the ground. Searfall/Graphia, Izuku. Azazel gritted his teeth and raged. Dai, you filthy mutt! He shouted, sending a massive spear of light at the wolf, but it dodged, only for he and Loki to be trapped in a barrier. Beelzebub, you left yourself wide open. Loki, Beelzebub, he shouted before they were teleported away. Surzex, well played. Akino, Izuku, she shouted, attracting everyone's attention to the boy, who began to scream in pain. He looked up at Akino, as one of his eyes turned red and blood fell from it. Drag! Ohno, Izuku, control it. Izuku began to scream in agony as darkness began to grow him, and his blood turned pitch black, horrifying everyone. Izuku, he screamed in pain beyond anything he's ever felt before. Edelweiss suddenly teleported in, shocking Odin and Roswius. Edelweiss, Izuku, calm down, she screamed, hugging him. As he screamed in pain, she closed her eyes and began to remind him of her. Flashback. Izuku could be seen lying on the ground under a tree. Drake had sent Izuku to a special force built by the Valkyrie to fight strong monsters. Edelweiss showed up in front of him, disappointed. Edelweiss, what are you doing here? Izuku, Yawn if you lay down on the grass a little bit you'd understand. Edelweiss began to look around at the beautiful land around them, and the calm serene winds. She then looked at Izuku, who was sleeping soundly, so she decided to try it too, and she fell asleep. Flashback 2. Edelweiss fell of a mountain. Her armor nearly turned to rubble, but she felt someone grab her hand and hug her, turning over to protect her with his body. Edelweiss. Izuku, why are you saving me? I have no one, no friends, no family, so why? She asked with tears. Izuku. Because you're my best friend L, and because I want to be with you every day of every year, so please don't leave me. He screamed with tears. She cried but hugged him tightly as he brought out wings and flew to the top. End of flashback. Edelweiss. Remember your words, Izuku. She screamed as the high-ranking devils used a barrier to protect them and others. Izuku's eye then turned black and blood red. Izuku, obey me and Tetsu. He screamed, smashing his hand in the ground as his missing arm regrew in different forms. Izuku, obey me, damn it. He shouted, smashing his arm into the ground so it turned back into a human arm. Izuku fell to his ass, breathing heavily. Izuku, thank you, L, he said to the girl, who blushed with a smile on his face. Azazel walked over to Izuku and hugged him. Azazel, thank goodness you're alright. Izuku nodded. Akino, Zenobia, Kaneko. Izuku, they shouted, jumping into him. Izuku, I'm okay girls, really. Surzex. Azazel, what the hell was that? Azazel. Sigh, the kid has in Tetsu the blade of the first devil. The demons, Odin and Michael gasped. Surzex, that can't be possible, not even a demon can wield it, and he's just a human. Azazel, you shouldn't underestimate humans, Lucifer, he told Surzex before helping Izuku up. Azazel, Grafia, I need your help, please come along. Grafia nodded and was about to follow Azazel out, but Searfall stopped her. Let me, she said. Grafia could see Searfall was deeply worried and let it be, so she followed Azazel out. With Azazel laid Izuku in his bed. Searfall stood behind him. She began to notice how Izuku began to squirm. Azazel, the dark energy is tearing him apart. You need to have intercourse with him so the energy calms down and merges completely with his cellular structure so he becomes resistant to it. Can I trust you? Searfall could hear the worry in Azazel's voice, and the pained expression on his face was nothing she had ever seen in her long life. Searfall, you can. Lemon skipped. At night. Azazel, Odin's gonna head up north to retrieve Mjolnir, says we'll need it in the upcoming fight, and thanks to Ajuka, Loki is being held captive in a barrier, but that will only hold for about a day, so when he comes back I can guarantee he'll be pissed. Rias, one day, that's it. Azazel, yep, and when that happens we won't have a choice but to fight, and that'll cause a massive amount of damage. Rias, if we killed Loki there could be a severe backlash and that would cause an all-out war. Azazel, exactly. Rias, then I'll need to talk to my brother. Azazel nodded. As she left the room he took out his phone and called someone. Azazel, yeah, is he ready? Absolutely, he took us all down, and he's gotten a great control over the Red Dragon Emperor's fire flowing through his body. Azazel, show me. Azazel received a video, and when he watched it a bright red light showed on his face. Azazel, good, send him over, it's time. Understood. With Rias. Surzex, so you want me to send you guys as a diversion for Loki? Ajuka, I hope you can understand I can only send 10 people at once, that's not much, and even with a good rest I can only send 2 more later, you won't have reinforcement. Rias, yes, I'm well informed. Searfall giggled. That's sweet, but don't think you're the only volunteer. From behind her came out Sona, Tsubaki and Saji. Right, Sona. Rias, gasp, you're going. Sona, the 3 of us would like to offer up our service as well if that's not a problem. Searfall, I tried to talk her out of it but she wouldn't listen, but then again this whole clean-up mess is our fault, so us sending our little sisters would be good, and it proves we do choose favorites, she said, turning to Surzex. Azazel, it's not like we have time to object. That said, we have 3 people also going. The 3rd person will have his own way of transportation anyway. Rias, 3 people, who are the other 2? Michael, 1 will be my subordinate. Rias, Irina. Michael, I have no doubt she will be a valuable asset in the fight. Roswius, I will be in attendance as well. For Asgard, but if I may. Azazel, sir, who is it you are asking to bring along? Azazel, why, it's Izuku, of course. The room gasped. Odin, are you certain it's safe to take him now? Azazel, now is the best time to take him after what happened, plus with the help of someone the berserk power inside him has completely merged with his body, so it's perfectly fine to take him. Searfall blushed when he mentioned the help, which didn't go unnoticed by Odin, who smiled and stroked his beard. Odin, Ha 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 ha, oh my, this boy is truly a wonder, I must invite him for a drink sometime, ha 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 ha. Azazel smirked. The old man had found out. Outside. Rias, I'm sorry we can't bring you with us, but you'll be safer here with the defense force. Asia, of course, but Issei, please stay safe out there. Issei, don't you worry about me, just focus on having fun with the other devils. Cool. Asia, right. Irina, this feels like old times, doesn't it? Zenobia, yeah, well, kind of. Anyway, this may sound weird coming from a devil, but please be careful. Irina, I was gonna say the same thing to you, she told her friend when they heard metal tapping metal, so they all turned to see Roswius in her armor. Roswius, guess I'll introduce myself to the team. I should have known things would have gotten out of hand when I traveled with Odin. I'm the Valkyrie Roswius. Azazel, oh, you're here, good, come and show yourself. Everyone turned and looked at Izuku in his own battle clothes. He's holding Restia and Est. Issei, whoa Izuku, what happened to you, bro? Izuku, don't worry about it. Azazel, okay, since you're all here, we should let you get going and be careful. Surzex, the time has come. Graphia walked up to everyone with a box, and inside was 3 phoenix tears. Graphia, these are phoenix tears, they should help a lot out there. Surzex, it isn't much, but it will serve to help you guys. Izuku, O1 SEC, he said, summoning his 2 familiars in their normal forms. Issei, what the where did they come from? Izuku, these are my partners Chomp and Lock. Azazel, ha, badass kid as always. Roswius stared at Izuku with a blush. Kaneko looked down worried, and Izuku saw it, so he walked towards her and lifted her chin up to see his soft smile. Izuku, I've always got your back, Kaneko, so don't either stop smiling, because as long as I am breathing I will fight to protect you, remember? Kaneko nodded with joy. Edelweiss, Izuku, wait. They all turned to see Edelweiss running to Izuku and hugging him. Be safe out there, okay? She spoke in a worried tone. Everyone was shocked to see the strongest Valkyrie so worried about someone other than herself. Kaneko immediately hugged Izuku's arm, almost as if saying, mine. Akino, so will you protect me to Aizu? She asked with a seductive smile. Izuku simply nodded, causing her to giggle. Zenobia literally marched up to them and grabbed Izuku's other arm, burying it in her breasts. Zenobia, and me, will you protect me? Izuku, always. Zenobia smiled happily. Ajuka, alright, off you go. And with that he sent them off to Loki. Saji, I don't know about you, we just finished training and we're already fighting a god. Izuku, no you're not. Everyone, huh? Izuku, I'm fighting Loki alone. Issei, what, you can't, you're just a KI. Izuku turned with a glare that chilled everyone to the bone. Izuku, because of Loki I nearly hurt Kaneko and the others. Because of that bastard the dark blade inside me raged out, and because of that son of a bitch Edelweiss cried, he made her cry, damn it. I'll have my revenge one way or another, he said, taking out both Est and Restia. Don't get in my way, he told them before jumping off to the prism, leaving everyone shocked. Akino, I've never seen him like this. Issei, me either, he never shouts or swears. Rias, why is he acting like this? Kiba, I don't know. Sona, Tsubaki, Saki, Kaneko, Zenobia, Roswius, and Irina just looked at them with a really expression. Rias, he's coming, she said as the barrier soon shattered and Loki was released. Loki, well, that was annoying, not to mention rude. Roswius, hear me, Loki attacking the All-Father is unforgivable. If you have a problem you should file the proper channel. Loki, and who will unforgive me? You please, talented you may be, you cannot challenge a god. Izuku, she can't. Everyone turned to see Izuku jump. Izuku, but that doesn't mean I can't. Izuku charged right at him. Star King form, Izuku shouted, transforming into his new form. Saji, whoa, that's so badass. Issei, when did he have that? Kaneko, Izuku, Loki, ai. He shouted, charging straight at him, and thrusting his sword towards his head. Loki created a barrier in front of him, but Izuku penetrated it and cut his cheek. Loki was completely shocked. A human cut his cheek. A human cut a god's cheek, and raged beyond belief. Loki lost it. Roswius, impossible, he pierced the holy barrier. Sona, and he landed a hit, she shouted, shocked. Akino, he is so hot. Loki, you damned mortal, I'll end you, he shouted, summoning his child Fenrir, who along with the wolf's children Skull and Hattie. Rias, Fenrir, Roswius, along with Skull and Hattie too. Could this get any worse? Lightning struck the earth, and from it came a massive serpent dragon named Migerswarmer. Loki, my children will deal with your friends while I kill you. Rias, the Midgard serpent is probably the worst when it's one of the 5 dragon kings. Izuku, come at me, you false god, he shouted as they clashed in the sky. Both died. Their battle shook Asgard and Hela alike. Irina, Did we plan on there being legendary monsters? Roswius. No, we didn't, though I really should have known better. The serpent and wolves surrounded the group. Issei. Hey guys, we're surrounded now, he shouted. Izuku, Loki, Loki, damn mortal. Boom. Everyone heard the two shout and fight each other in the background. Rias, will you suck it up? She shouted. Rias, our families are counting on us to keep Loki at bay, so that's exactly what we will do. Everyone right. Loki. Touching sentiment, but I must tell you it will never work. Izuku smashed his fist in the god's face. Focus, you crazy bucker. Issei, ready bro. Saji. Yeah, it's time to put our training to good use. Issei. RIS. Saji. Sona. Both girls nodded. Both. Promotion to queen. They shouted. Issei. Balance breaker. Drag. Welsh dragon balance breaker. Loki. This is the Red Dragon Emperor, how sad. He asked, punching Izuku in the face, but Izuku countered by kicking him in the jaw and sending a slash cutting his shirt. Suddenly Fenrir came and bit one of Issei's wings, causing him to fall down. Issei, Kaneko, look out, never mind, she said as Issei was falling towards the mouth of hell, but Zenobia and Kiba saved him. Issei, thanks you guys. Kiba, no prob. Zenobia, just leave this problem to the knights. Zenobia sent a slash towards Fenrir. Durandal. Kiba, taste my sword birth. Issei, man, Kiba and Zenobia have grown stronger, but so have I, he said, creating a basketball-sized sphere of red energy. Issei, dragon shot, he shouted, sending a blast right at the wolf. Kaneko, down you go, she shouted at the wolf she was fighting, elbowing it to the ground. Rias, figures we'd be left with the biggest one. Beside Rias was Sona and Akino, all standing in front of the colossal serpent. Akino, ha, lightning, she shouted, sending a lightning bolt of yellow and white at the serpent, causing it to roar in pain before firing a beam of fire at them, but the group dodged and flew into the air. Akino, thanks dad for teaching me, she said with a smile. Tsubaki, you know what they say about playing with fire. Sona, that's Tsubaki's sacred gear. When the mirror Alice shatters after taking a hit, it sends it back with twice the power. Rias, thanks for the heads up. Sona, desperate times call for desperate measures. I was planning to use it in a game. Rias, I see. Well then, I'm happy to return the favor for you. She shouted, sending destruction magic at it, but it caused little to no effect. Sona, as long as we're being generous, she said, creating a giant water snake that bit the serpent's neck and sent it into the ground, but dispersed right after. Rias, okay, so it's resilient. Sona, good thing we're only trying to buy time, cause beating this thing is way out of our pay grade. Izuku smashed into the serpent, sending it into a mountain. Izuku, that ugly bastard, he said, standing up on the dragon's head. He put his swords in their holster and lifted it off the ground, shocking the girls as he threw it at Loki, who dodged but had Izuku's fist buried in his face almost immediately. Roswius, don't underestimate these dogs. Their bark is much worse than their bark. Irina, that's good to hear, means I don't have to hold back. She looked up, smiling at Izuku, who was fighting Loki with all he's got. Irina, this way he'll acknowledge me. Zenobia, Irina, remember you're still only a human, you're at a great disadvantage. Irina, I think you're mistaken. How about I show you the new me, she said as two white wings and a halo came out of her. Kiba, well, that was unexpected. Issei, since when was she an angel? Izuku, yeah, that suits her, he shouted with scratches and dirt. Saji, nice Izuku, haha. Izuku kicked Loki in the face, sending him into a mountain. Izuku, Saji, go help the others. Saji nodded and jumped down, then fled to go help everyone else. Izuku turned to Kaneko's location, seeing her smile at him and reveal her Nakomata parts made him very happy. Akino, now why won't he look my way? She putted, jealous. Akino, oh, I know, Thunderbolt. Izuku, nice work, Akino, he shouted, proud of her. Irina and Roswius killed Hell finally, and Kiba along with Zenobia trapped Fenrir. Loki, you filthy scum, he shouted, sending a punch to Izuku's face with his godly might, make Izuku go through 4 mountains. Izuku ga. Kaneko, Izuku. Roswius jumped up and hovered behind Loki. Roswius, Lord Loki, it isn't too late. Lord Odin may forgive you. Loki, before you said I was unforgivable, and why should I be the one to apologize? It should be him. Roswius, then you leave me no choice, she said, creating several magic circles around her and sending blasts at Loki, who deflected them and sent a blast her way, knocking her back, but Izuku caught her princess style. Izuku, you okay, beautiful? He asked with a smile, showing his fangs. She blushed bright pink and nodded. Izuku gently set her down and turned to Loki. He raised his sword in the air with both hands and shouted, "Izuku, banishing shift." He sent a wave of neon green right at Loki, which took the god quite a lot of power to defend himself against it. Once the attack stopped, his wrist was caught by Saji's sacred gear again. "Saji, I caught a big one, haha." "Sona, Issei. Saji, that was awesome." "Saji, I'm fighting for a school out here, man, this ain't nothing." "Issei, it's that king of talk that makes you my best frenemy," he called out while stabbing one mutt with his dragon blade. Pulling his sword up, the dog fell to the ground. "Loki, oh please, this can hold me," he said, using his magic to break it, but it didn't break. "Loki, why didn't it break?" "Saji, Azazel gave me an upgrade this past month," he said as his eye turned black with a massive red pupil with yellow inside. "Saji, now I have all the Reacher sacred gears at my disposal," he said as black flames climbed up from him to Loki's wrist. "Loki, so these are the Reacher dragon's dark flames." "Saji, damn straight, and even a god can't cancel out my curses like they're no biggie." "Sona, maybe you should have had higher expectations of us." "Loki just gave it up," she said with a proud smile, crossing her arms. "Issei, damn, I should have known Azazel would pull out all the stops." "Alright, you're going down," he shouted as his wings fixed themselves, and "Izuku, you're idiots," he shouted to all of them. "Loki, such outstanding arrogance," he shouted, destroying the line and releasing his godly power, creating an extremely powerful blizzard. "Izuku, shit. Roswius, Lord Loki, stop please, I beg. At this rate you'll destroy not only the underworld but the mythical world as well." "Loki, which is exactly what I want, dear," he said, directing the eyes to everyone. "Issei, Ris," he shouted, flying in front of her to protect her. "Rias, how can he do this?" Rias didn't realize it, but the phoenix tears she had fallen from her pocket and shattered. Roswius hid behind a large to take cover. "He can destroy hell if he wants, he's a god," she said. "Kiba, what?" A massive piece of ice smashed into his head. "Zenobia, Kiba and oh," she shouted before helping him hide behind a rock. "Kiba, damn it," he shouted as his sword holding Fenrir shattered, setting the dog free. "Loki, oh don't be like that, this is the dawning of Ragnarok, at least your lives will have an epic finale," he shouted, sending out thousands of light attacks moving at the speed of light itself. Izuku watched as the attacks came down, but he knew he had to save them, so he summoned his strongest sword in Tetsu. "Izuku, Ito Shura!" Izuku ran faster than his body could handle. His eyes had blood burst from them. The veins and muscles in his arms literally burned to a crisp as he moved beyond the speed of time. Izuku first reached Kiba and Zenobia, pulled them behind a rock for cover. He moved to Issei and Rias, picking up the two. He put them next to Zenobia and Kiba. Then he ran to Irina, Roswius, and Kaneko, putting all three of them under the dead hell to shield them. Finally he reached Saji, Tsubaki, Akino, and Sona. His speed was decreasing and time was slowly decreasing. Moving, he couldn't afford to stop now, so despite the pain of 1,000 blades being stabbed in his body over and over again, he pushed further and moved the four to Rias and others. Finally he looked to Loki and jumped like a shooting star. He slashed every single piercing purple light and then reached Loki. He cut off the god's right arm technique and stopped the No One POV. Time began once more, and the lights Loki fired all exploded with him in the middle as he screamed in pain. "Loki, AARGH. Everyone looked to see themselves protected and somewhere else than before. "Rias, what the heck?" "Issei, how did we get here?" "Sona, I'm not sure." "Zenobia, wait, where's Izuku?" Kaneko pushed the dog off the three and looked around for her man but couldn't find him. "Loki, Arg, how did this happen? How, tell me, you damn devils." He was infuriated, covered in blood, scratches and bruises, missing one arm. He looked closer to the smoke to see Izuku covered in open wounds and blood with his back turned to him, and holding in Tetsu. He knew in that moment that Izuku was responsible. "Loki, tell me, how did you do it, boy?" Everyone looked to Izuku and saw his state. Shocked and horrified, they held their hands to their mouth. "Loki, to move beyond time is not a foot that even the gods themselves are capable of, so tell me," he said, appearing in front of Izuku, kicking him in the gut, causing the boy to fall to the ground. But it didn't matter, Izuku had already lost conscience, but he kept going. "Issei, get the hell of him," he shouted, charging at Loki, but Loki kicked Izuku to Issei, who dodged his younger brother and headed straight towards the god when Mjolnir came down from the sky. "Roswius, Lord Odin sends a message. Only the Red Dragon Emperor is strong enough to use the hammer." "Issei, no shit. Loki, I'll kill you all," he shouted to attack them, but Saji caught him. "Saji, where do you think you're going, bastard?" "Rias, All yours. Issei badass. He shouted, flying straight towards the hammer. Izuku's eyes opened slightly, and he saw the wolf, so with all the strength he could muster he used the power given to him by Barraquil to reach Issei. Issei POV. I'm gonna get the hammer, and when I do I'll become the harem king, haha. Issei. It's hammer time. I shouted, about to grab it when Fenrir was about to bite me until I was shoved out the way. Looking back I saw something that tore my heart apart. Izuku was smiling at me with Fenrir biting into him. His hand reached out to me as Fenrir shook his head and tossed him away. Issei, Izuku. No one POV. Issei, Izuku. Everyone looked absolutely shocked at what happened. Kaneko, Izuku and Oo. Once Fenrir landed, Kiba and Zenobia stopped it from moving. Izuku was thrown into a mountain. His blood stained the wall as he hit it, and fell down. A large piece of rock hit his gut, and another his shoulder, as he landed on the ground. Issei ignored Mjolnir and landed next to his brother, removing the armor. Issei, Izuku, hey, hold on. Izuku, hold on, alright. Izuku, Issei, it's so cold. Issei teared up and hugged his younger brother tightly, burying his brother's head in his chest. Izuku, IT trained every day because I wanted to be strong like you. Izuku teared up. Izuku, 3M missed you so much, brother. Sniff. Issei's eyes broadened as he hugged Izuku tighter, sobbing. Izuku, why you left me all alone? Izuku, you abandoned me, he cried, holding Issei's shirt. Izuku, tell me, big brother, did I make you proud? Izuku's grip loosened. Did I become a hero? Issei's heart was tearing itself apart. His younger brother, he abandoned his little brother. What sick monster abandons their little brother? He thought to himself. Flashback. Izuku and Issei were watching TV on the couch when they were kids. Issei, when I grow up I'm gonna be the best ever. Izuku, then can I be your sidekick? Izuku asked with hope. Issei, yeah, we will be super brothers, haha. Izuku, why super brothers? Izuku cheered with him, happily hugging his older bro. Flashback 2. Issei petted Izuku's head as he slept. Izuku, Issei, will you always be there for me? Issei smiled. Of course, I'm your big brother after all. Flashback 3. Izuku ran to hug Issei after Riser's fight, but Issei left him and hugged Asia instead and ignored Izuku, who walked inside upset. I abandoned him. Flashback 4. In the middle of the night, Issei heard his parents hugging Izuku, who was screaming after being traumatized from what happened at school. I left him all alone when he needed me. Flashback 5. Izuku tried to stop Issei from going out with Yuma, worried she was using him, and he punched him in the face. I hit him. Flashback 6. Izuku, you're the best big brother ever. I'm sorry. Izuku. End of flashbacks. Issei hugs Izuku and begged him for forgiveness, and after separating a little, Izuku hugs Issei. I only wanted my big brother back, he said before his arms dropped and his eyes turned lifeless. Issei, no, wake up, damn it, wake up. Izuku, don't leave me all alone, he shouted, hugging Izuku. Issei, no. Drag POV. No, please, not him, no, anyone but him, please, no. Izuku, wake up. Izuku, don't leave me, Izuku. I screamed for his name, but he didn't react. No, God, no. Flashback. Drag. Come, Izuku, fight. I shouted as he charged at me, but I dodged only for him to sweep my feet off the ground, and when I landed he had the wooden sword to my throat. Drag. Good job. Izuku, thanks the master. Drag, no problem, kid. Flashback 2. Izuku was asleep with his head on Drag's shoulder. Izuku, Drag, thanks for being the dad I never had. Drag teared up but smiled. No problem, son. End of flashbacks. Wake up, Izuku, don't leave me. Izuku, wake up, lipstick, whack up, son. Drag's energy flared up and began to destroy everything around them. Issei's POV. Issei, hey Izuku, remember we were gonna be super brothers, so please don't leave me, don't go. Please don't go. Issei begged, hugging his little brother's body. Rias landed behind Issei. Oh Issei, she said, saddened. With Akino, no he can't, she said, horrified, feeling sad envelop her heart. With Kaneko, Izuku, no, not him, please, and no, not him, Grewa. She screamed like tears ran down her face like waterfalls, and she sent her strongest attacks at Fenrir. The others took down the serpent, and turned to see Issei holding his little brother. Akino, he can't be gone. With Issei. Rias, Issei, we need to stop Loki. Issei, I abandoned him. Rias, I abandoned my baby brother, he only wanted me to be his brother again, and I ignored him. Now I can never be with my bro, never again. Tears fell down his face as well as from his gauntlet. Drake the Dragon Emperor was crying. Akino landed behind Rias, and tears fell down her face. Akino, Izuku, no please. She turned with an angry expression at Fenrir. With Zenobia. Flashback. The sun rose to the top of the sky and Zenobia began to wake up. Her eyes took a few seconds to adjust to the light, and when it did she recalled what happened yesterday. She knew she had to get up but didn't want to change. She laid down and snuggled deeper into Izuku's neck, feeling his arm wrapped around her waist, holding her close. Zenobia, it feels so comfortable, no wonder Kaneko loves it here. Izuku didn't once touch her breasts, or did she fight with the girls? She didn't understand it, but being near Izuku brought up new emotions in her, and they weren't bad, they were actually really good. Zenobia, I'm really happy I met you, Izuku, she said, closing her eyes and smiling with him. End of flashback. Zenobia, D bastard. Irina POV. Flashback. Irina woke up in the morning. She was wearing comfortable pajamas and had a towel on her head. Irina, where am I? Izuku, oh, you're awake, I'm glad. She turned to see Izuku smiling at her. Irina, why am I here? Izuku, I saw you on my way home. You were hurt, so I took care of you, and I'm sorry for changing you, but your clothes were torn. Irina blushed and looked down, holding the blanket up over her breasts. Irina, thank you. Izuku looked up with shock but smiled. Izuku, it's all good. End of flashback. Irina, how dare you? The orc, Sona, Saji and Tsubaki made it back to the Gremory estate where everyone was waiting for them. Surzex, you guys completed the mission and killed Loki, great work. No one looked happy though. Azazel, hey, what's wrong, you guys won? Where's Izuku? He looked around and didn't see him. Issei walked forward with the dead boy in his arms. Azazel and the others' eyes opened as wide as they could. Azazel's breath got heavy, his eyes teared up, his heart felt as if it stopped. Barakwheel, no, Akino, daddy, she screamed, hugging him, crying. Rias, he saved us all and died. Issei, sniff, it was my fault, sniff, I abandoned my brother. Azazel took Izuku in his arms and held the boy close to him, almost like a father hugging their dead child. Azazel, no, tell me it's not true, Rias. Rias looked down with tears. Azazel, Kaneko, none dare speak. Azazel, no, please no. Tears fell down his face. No. He screamed with his aura booming out in waves, pushing everyone back. Sniff, please wake up. He began to recall the time he spent with Izuku, how the boy became like the son he never had. Azazel, crying. Searfall, Izuku, she screamed, running to the boy who was being hugged by Azazel, who cried in the boy's chest and stroked his hair backwards. Azazel cried and cried. Searfall fell to her knees and Sona ran into her arms, both crying. Grafia fell to the ground in tears. Surzex looked down and clenched his teeth. They all looked to Roswius, who walked up with something wrapped in cloth. Once she removed it, there they saw it in Tetsu's handle with the blade shattered. Azazel's mouth opened. He reached out to hold it but couldn't even touch it, so he screamed into Izuku's chest. Azazel, grah. Michael shed tears as well. He let Irina cry into his chest. May the Lord guide him to eternal peace. Odin fell to his knees and bowed in front of them all. I'm sorry, forgive me please. Roswius, Lord Odin. She was in shock. The great All-Father was bowing. Odin, my son killed yours. Azazel, I beg your forgiveness. He put his head on the ground and bowed with tears streaming from his eyes. Tannin soon arrived and saw the child. Azazel, Tannin, Azazel cried before he could finish. He's gone. He whimpered to the dragon, who couldn't bear the news, memories of the time he spent with the boy during his training and when he met in the alley. Tannin collapsed to his knees. Kaneko couldn't bear it anymore and ran, but Issei grabbed her wrist, stopping her as he pulled her into a hug. Kaneko, she screamed in his chest as he held on to her and cried. No one POV. That day was the day a human boy fought a god and won, but at the cost of his life, dying the most honorable way. He protected his friends, and his older brother Azazel decided that he would leave with Tannin, and the two would bring back the boy for a world without him, and it isn't a world worth living at all. Drake stopped speaking and Issei rarely looked at boobs. He couldn't care anymore. Zenobia and Kaneko would sleep hugging Izuku's pillow. Chomp and Locke stopped playing and would simply lie down, for if their master and best friend wasn't there to play and pet them, then they saw no point in even living. Est and Restia sealed themselves in sword form. The mere thought of their master not being there for them tore them apart from the inside. It hurts for them to even look at his bedroom door. Kiba couldn't even touch his sword. He swore to protect his friend, and he failed. Akina would shake every single time she tried to make tea. After all, she loved the way he acted when he drank her tea, and when she would make her tea now the memory would come back. Kaneko probably took it the hardest. She never comes out her room anymore. Only Zenobia spoke with her, and she rarely spoke. Grafia became as cold as ice, and Searfall stopped being the joyful person she was. There was no point if her hero wasn't there to fight with her. Role play, of course. Gasper locked himself back in the room. They sealed him in and didn't come out. Asia tried to help Issei. She would even show him her body, but he never reacted. He was empty. He could only think of how he failed his little brother. Time skip 2 weeks. Summer holiday is nearly finished. Azazel and Tannin traveled to the highest peak of the tallest mountain of the Dragon Realm, where they reached the Pond of Dragon Serenity. Tannin. In our legends it is said that if a soul so pure and loving had died, the Pond of Serenity will revive him as a hybrid species. Are you ready, Azazel? We must guard him for 2 days because many monsters will come to kill him. Azazel. If I can see him again, then I'll fight Christ if I have to. Tannin nodded and softly placed Izuku in the water. As he began to drift off and sink into the bottom, the water began glowing bright blue when flames ignited over the pool, forming a flame lotus that fired a blue beam of fire into the water. Azazel. It's beautiful. Tannin, indeed it is. Azazel and Tannin shed tears. Please come home. They prayed for Izuku. Time skipped 2 days. With everyone in the occult research club in Issei's house, they all sat around in silence. When they heard a guitar being played, their eyes sharpened, and they all got up immediately and looked around the entire house. When they saw Kiba look into a dark room with his eyes tearing up, Kaneko was waltzing with a blue glowing Izuku. Singing together they danced. It seemed like stars filled the room as they all began to float into Izuku, and a golden light began to recreate his blood, meat, bones, veins, everything to the last bit of hair on his head. Izuku's eyes and hair were different now. Thought his hair was pure white and his eyes blood red. Kaneko cried, looking at the man she loved. Kaneko, is it really you? Izuku smiled and put her hand on his chest. Her eyes broadened and she burst into tears, hugging him. Izuku hugged back. Izuku-kun. Izuku was interrupted with Kaneko slamming her lips against. Kaneko, don't let go. She begged him, hugging him again. Izuku, never again. He swore. When they heard whimpers, they turned to the door to see everyone with tears. Issei, Izuku. He stuttered, walking towards him slowly. Issei, are you really here? Issei walked to Izuku slowly. Izuku smiled softly at him. Hey big bro. Issei burst into tears and hugged his brother, burying his head in Izuku's neck. Somehow Izuku was taller than him now. Everyone followed and hugged Izuku close. Issei, I'm sorry for being the worst big brother. Izuku, hey, I forgive you. Oh, and I want you guys to meet my new familiars. Izuku clicked his fingers and a red magic circle opened behind him. From it came out a white dragon, a massive blue dragon, and a massive dragon. Izuku, everyone, this is Tiamat, the Dragon Queen. This is Kana, she's actually the 6th of the 7 Dragon King. Izuku, and this is my buddy Igneel. Izuku said as the entire peerage had their faces covered with shock, but what shocked them even more was Kana and Tiamat transforming into 2 beautiful girls. Kaneko immediately went stoic and Izuku held her arm close to her chest. Mine, she said out loud. Kana and Tiamat eyebrows twitched. I think you're mistaken, he's my future king cat, Tiamat said, pulling Izuku's other arm into her breasts when Kana jumped on his back and hugged his neck. Kana, Aiza belongs to Kana, she said cutely. Izuku chuckled nervously when Zenobia and Akino jumped in and hugged his waist and neck from the front. Zenobia, Izuku and me are gonna have children together, so back off. Akino, Era, you girls want to fight for him, she said angrily with her smile. Izuku, help big brother, Izuku said while being a blushing mess. He saw Issei hug Asia and Rias close. You are my rival brother, Issei shouted, holding his fist up, while in the background a sign said, Battle for title Harem King, Kiba. Well, things have certainly changed. Gasper, yeah, but I'm happy big bro, Izuku is back. Everyone had smiles on their faces. Izuku, oh yeah, Rias, yes. Izuku, I'm the new member of your peerage, another pawn. Rias, but I used all 8 on Issei. Izuku, who said they were your pawns? They used to be Grafia's and Searfall, who had a spare 4. Akino, they were really okay with giving them to Rias. Tiamat, well, let's just say Izuku paid them more than the pawns are worth. Every cock there heard to the side, confused, and Izuku sweated profusely. Back in the underworld, both Grafia, Searfall and Venelana were lying in one bed covered in sweat. Graphia had love hearts in her eyes, Searfall had her tongue sticking out, and Venelana was completely passed out. Both girls, worth it. Back at home, Akino was in the bath having a shower, recalling the past. Flashback. Kaneko came out her and Izuku's new room when she saw Akino in the kitchen drinking tea. Kaneko, sup. Akino, you look much happier. Kaneko smiled warmly and looked down. My Aizawa came back to me, of course I'd be happy, she said with a pink blush. Kaneko, please hear me out, but may I borrow Izuku for tomorrow? She asked. Why? Kaneko questioned. Please. Akino begged. Kaneko knew Akino, so she knew when she acted like this it was for a serious reason. Sure, she said, walking back very fast. Akino, where are you going in such a hurry? Kaneko, I can feel my senses tingling. That slut of a dragon Kana is trying to steal my spot on Aiza's chest, she said, charging forward and slamming the door. Don't try it. Akino heard Kaneko shout, causing her to giggle. End of flashback. Akino, mother, I want to be strong. With Izuku. Izuku sat with Zenobia on his lap. She was in a black tank top and dark green pajama short shorts while she and Asia did the summer break homework. Zenobia, all that training made me forget about the real foe, she said, scratching her head for answers, looking at the homework on the table. It's bizarre, maybe they gave us this much homework as punishment for having a holiday. Zenobia, we are the only ones who have this homework, aren't we? She groaned, falling back and laying her head on Izuku's shoulder. Issei, suck my ass, so much work, he shouted beside them all. Izuku, sigh, this work is so easy, I don't know why you are complaining, he said as they stared at him frozen. All three. What? Izuku, here, let me show you. Izuku picked up Zenovia's pen. His arms were close to her, causing her to blush. Watching him explain the method to them like a pro, he showed them the easiest way to solve them and how to finish all their work in at least an hour. Finally finished, he stood up and softly left Zenovia on the floor, kissing her head. I got cooking to do. If you need any more help, I'm only a few feet away, he told them with a smile, leaving the three. Time skip. Issei, yes, I'm finished. I love you, Izuku. You're the best little brother in the world. Zenovia, Izuku, you're the most amazing person in the world. Asia, you're so smart, and we finished because of you. Both, may God bless you, OWW. Izuku in the kitchen chuckled while reading his book, sitting on the kitchen table and reading a book. Akino, sorry to interrupt, but I brought tea, she said, entering the kitchen with a tray of tea in her hands. Izuku, oh, thanks a lot, Akino, he thanked with a kind smile. Akino sat beside Izuku, placing the tray on the table with sandwiches in it as well. Akino touched a page in the book. So what are you reading? Her voice was as soft as ever and somewhat seductive. Izuku smiled. It's a story about the Hindu gods, well, a forbidden love, that is. Akino tilted her head to the side and then placed her head softly on Izuku's shoulder. Her cheek touched his cheek and her large breasts gently pressed against his back. Akino, tell me about it. Izuku looked at her beautiful eyes and took a deep breath, reading the first page for her. The two of the brightest stars are Altair and Vega, and it is said they were deeply in love but forever separated by the celestial river of the Milky Way. Akino looked at Izuku with admiration and love in her eyes. However, every year on the 7th month of the 7th day, all the magpies in the world fly up and create a bridge with their wings so the two could come together for a single night of passion. Akino kissed Izuku's cheek. The boy's face turned completely red and he jumped back. Izuku, wa? He questioned, looking at her completely. Now all she wore was a dress with short sleeves and colored circles at the bottom of it, and pink slippers on her feet. What, you didn't like it? She asked, pouting. Cute, Izuku thought to himself before taking a breath. No, that's not it, but thank you for the tea and sandwiches, Akino, they're great as always, he complimented, taking a bite out of his chili sandwich. Akino, I'm glad you like them, and I'm happy to make them for you as much as you want, she said with a smile as her boobs bounced up. But in return, I want us to do something together, she said, grabbing his hand and pulling it close to her boobs. Izuku could only nod. Time skip. Izuku stood in front of the shrine bridge at the bottom of the mountain, wearing a silver jumper, a black shirt, white headphones, black jeans, and white sneakers, waiting for Akino. Izuku, sigh, I wonder why she asked to meet me out here. Akino, sorry. Hope you weren't waiting too long. Izuku looked at her with a bright blush, mesmerized. Akino looked down, blushing. What, the way you're staring at me makes me feel embarrassed. You hate this outfit, don't you? She told him. An arrow went through Izuku's heart. So cute, he shouted to himself. It's just you're gorgeous, he said. She blushed bright pink and looked down. Akino, Exactly what I want to hear from my boyfriend for the day. She leaned down and looked up at him. Sounds nice, doesn't it? She questioned him. Izuku smiled warmly at her. It does, he replied. Akino jumped up happily. Alright, well, let's go have some fun. She shouted like a kid going out to a festival. She really is adorable when she's so excited. He chuckled to himself. Izuku, sigh. Alright then. Izuku extended his hand out to her. Akino, will you go on a date with me? She looked at him with shock before taking his hand. I'd love to, she replied as he guided her around for their date. On the date, Izuku took her to the aquarium and showed her the new exhibits. She looked at the sea creatures in wonder when they went underneath the water inside the glass dome around the bridge, where they got to see the sea creatures up close. Next, Izuku and her went to a cafe where they ordered dessert and shakes. Akino, Izuku. As they ate, Akino acted even cuter and blushed bright red when Izuku licked the ice cream that was very close to her lips. He literally broke out laughing at her expression. She couldn't even speak. Next, they went around the shopping district where all the stores were. The two tried on different clothes. Izuku could only muster 5 words. You really are an angel. She looked down, happy to be seen in such a way by him. She even made him try on clothes. Akino thought one thing at the moment. He's so perfect. Izuku paid for their clothes against Akino's wishes, but she was still happy. Finally, the two went to an arcade and played a lot of games together. Finishing it off, Izuku used his tickets to get her a white stuffed bunny with red eye that resembled him. She absolutely adored it. End of the day. Izuku and Akino were walking down the street at sunset, their arms intertwined as they went their way. He smiled happily, but when they passed a light post with people with costumes behind it, his smile disappeared. Izuku, wow, they're such incredible spies. Don't look back, Akino, they might kidnap you. Akino, then let's make a break for it, she said happily, taking his hand as they ran away. Issei, shit, they're getting away, follow them, he shouted as they chased after the two but lost them in an alleyway. Izuku, looks like we lost them. Akino, she nodded cheerfully when Izuku realized where they ended up. Izuku, oh my god, we're in the red district, he shouted. Come on, Akino dash, he said, grabbing her hand, but she didn't move. If you want. Akino pressed her chest against Izuku's and looked up into his eyes. We can go in, she said to him. Izuku titled his head to the side. Why would you want to go here? He asked himself. Izuku, Akino, he said, tilting her chin up to look him in the eye. When Odin, an afternoon delight, they turned to see Lord Odin. Odin, most impressive, I've heard you have returned from the dead black swordsman. Izuku, Lord Odin. Izuku bowed and so did Akino. Odin, please don't bow, I was responsible for your death. If anything, I should be bowing to you. Suddenly Izuku was tackled by Roswius. You're really alive, I didn't believe it. Azazel and Tannin truly did the impossible. Roswius had tears in her eyes when Izuku patted her head. I'm sorry for scaring you, please forgive me, he asked of her. Hey young man. Izuku looked at Lord Odin and tilted his head to the side. If there's anything you ever need, feel free to ask it of me. Also, sometime in the future, we the gods have decided to hold a ball. I would like to invite you. Izuku, oh, it would be a pleasure to attend, sir, and thank you for the offer, but I must decline. Odin, no. No, you don't. You suffered greatly at the hands of my son. Please allow me to do this much for you. Izuku, Lord Odin. Izuku looked down and put on a smile. Then thank you truly. Odin smiled and nodded. Lord Odin, I ask you don't wander off on your own. Let me remind you I am your guide, Barakweel said, walking up to the group in a suit when he saw Akino and then Izuku. Barakweel, Izuku, you're alive. He smiled with some tears. Tell me I'm not dreaming, he said, crying when Akino hugged him. Hi Daddy, she greeted her father, who hugged her back. Time skip. Izuku lied in bed with Akino, both breathing hard and covered in sweat, naked. Akino, that was amazing. Izuku nodded. He smiled and turned his body to Akino, whom lifted her head off the pillow and lied down on his arm, feeling his hand caress her cheek. She smiled happily. Izuku, thank you for everything. Izuku nodded and leaned in, kissing her lips. I'll do anything to protect the ones I love. In the Haidu mansion, Issei suddenly teared up and looked at the sky. Why do I feel so pissed with Barakweel? Barakweel was on the magic train with Odin. Odin, who would have thought those extra large condoms that were too big for Thor would fit on that young man? I must admit I feel jealous. Barakweel, indeed, I hope Akino is alright, but are we forgetting something? Odin, nope. And the two flew off, missing one person.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.